out of the things that are under investigation right now, when will those things be available to the community and widely available? So let's give a little background on that. So everything that we use now, the things I mentioned before that are standard of care, were at one time experimental. So it's important for patients and their families and everybody really to realize that that's a truism. That the Timos Olamide, for example, that it was a major breakthrough in 2005. That was experimental before. It became part of the standard of care, and there are people alive today that wouldn't be alive if it weren't for that drug and that discovery. So, and that took from the development of that molecule. It was originally discovered or really built back in about 1992. And it worked its way through animals and was approved for anaplastic astrocytoma in 1999. So that was only a 7-year time frame. And then it was another 6 years before it got approved for patients with glioblastoma. So those are the sorts of numbers that you talk about when you talk about drug development. Anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 years after the primary discovery to the development of a drug. I'll give you a few more examples. Say the mutation known as IDH, which stands for isocitrate dehydrogenase. That is a mutation that occurs in 80 to 90% of patients with grade 2 and grade 3 tumors, so lower grade gliomas. As your audience I'm sure knows, most patients with glioma diagnosed every year have glioblastoma, which is about 12,000 patients. The other 8,000 or so per year have these other ones, grade 2 and grade 3 oligodendrogliomas and astrocytomas and ependymomas as well. But that group of patients, the vast majority of them, those lower grade tumors, their tumors carry this mutation called isocitrate dehydrogenase. And there's several different variations of that. Well, anyway, that was actually discovered in 2009, that it was part of the thing that drives these lower grade tumors. Well, it didn't take very long before there were drugs being tested. In fact, there was a drug approved, I believe, year before last for leukemia that's driven by that same mutation. So that would be, whatever that would be, 2009 to 2000, only 6 years to the discovery, to the development, and the implementation of an approved drug for the certain types of leukemias that are driven by that same mutation. So those are the sorts of time frames you're talking about, anywhere from as quick as 4 or 5 years to as long as 10 or 15 years. So the things I'm talking about now that have to do with immunologic treatments, I would expect, these are things that have been in development a year or two, probably within the next 3 years, we're going to have drugs that people are going to be able to access and receive, that are going to change the course of their illness. That would be my prediction. Here we are in 2018, so 2021 I would expect we're going to have an immunotherapy for patients with brain tumors. That I'm expecting approval.
Approval?
Yeah, because things are going to move pretty fast. Once we get a couple of signals that things are helping, that won't take that long to get it tested in patients with primary brain tumors. So there are things that are that close, that are on the edge, on the verge of being taken into a definitive trial. Phase 3 trials, are what we use to get drugs approved. But sometimes, if you have enough of an impact with a phase 2 trial, then you can get a drug approved with what's called accelerated approval with just phase 2 data. So I think, that's pretty optimistic, but it's not unrealistic.